Carlsbad is one of the most popular areas in San Diego, and the median home price is about $1.8 million. So today I'm going to show you the good and the bad and break down exactly what you get for that price. You're going to see the lifestyle trade-offs, all the different neighborhoods and schools, and everything you can do around here. All right, let's get into it. Now, I'm going to walk you through everything about Carlsbad, and I actually spent a lot of time here just because there's always something going on. You've got the Carlsbad Lagoon where you can go kayaking and jet skiing. There's 3 amazing golf courses, walking trails, hiking, and a bunch of newer shopping plazas. So we're always hanging out at the beach or in the village, and they actually have a farmer's market here every Thursday, so that's been really fun to check out. Now, the food scene has changed a lot over the years, and it's honestly only been getting better. So for restaurants, they have places like Nick's where we like to sit at the bar and have some appetizers. They also have some more upscale restaurants like Campfire and Vigalucci's and a bunch of other fast casual places. So like I said, definitely a lot of fun, and I'm gonna talk more about the beaches in a minute, but there's some of my favorite ones in San Diego. Now, one thing you're gonna notice right away is that Carlsbad's way more structured than some of the other beach towns, and it's not as gritty as Encinitas or Oceanside. So if you like more of that polished feel, then you're absolutely gonna love it here. Roads are bigger, shopping plazas are newer, parking's easier, so it really makes day-to-day life way more convenient. Now, I will say it does get busier in the summer, especially around downtown, but if you want to escape the crowd, then you want to live a little bit more inland. Now, I want to mention real quick that Carlsbad really stands out for families, and I always recommend it if you have kids. It's very safe, there's parks everywhere, everyone's super friendly, and of course the weather's amazing, so they can be at sports or be outside all the time. Sports leagues are huge in Carlsbad, so there's always something going on, and kids just are able to be way more active. So it's really one of those places where there's a big focus on family, and the community kind of supports that lifestyle. Also, the schools are some of the best in San Diego, so make sure you stick around where I'm going to show you all their different rankings. All right, so let's talk about some of the neighborhoods. Now, the first one's the Village, and this is where you get that true beach town feel, and you're not going to find this kind of walkability anywhere else in Carlsbad. There's a bunch of different restaurants around, the beach is right there, and you can literally park your car for the weekend and just walk or bike everywhere. So it's a really cool spot, super fun and lively, and you're really picking the lifestyle over having more space. Also, some of my favorite beaches are in Carlsbad, and I just love how wide open they are. So Tamarack, Ponto, Carlsbad State Beach, they're all amazing spots. There's over 7 miles of coastline, and people are always out at the beach or walking or biking, so the lifestyle is definitely what you're paying for. Now, the biggest negative is that it's one of the most expensive parts of Carlsbad, and if you want a newer house, you're probably gonna have to look somewhere else. About 60% of them were built in the 70s and 80s, and some even go back to the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So just be ready to pay a big premium over here, and don't be surprised if you see $8, $9, or even $1,000 a square foot. And look, if you wanna know more about the Village or any other neighborhood I'm gonna talk about, I actually help families move here all the time, so you can always call, text, or email me, and I'll help make your move here as easy as possible. All right, now, another very cool part of town is La Costa, and this is gonna feel completely different. So a lot more suburban, everything's more spread out, and it's really for someone that wants a bigger house and more space. There's also 3 or 4 different shopping plazas, and they're all only 5 to 10 minutes away, so it's really easy for grocery shopping, going to the gym, and this is where a lot of families settle in. Now, there's basically 2 sides to La Costa. So there's the newer parts and the older ones. La Costa Greens is one of the newer areas, and this entire community was built between 2005 and 2007. Most of these are between 3,000 to 5,000 square feet, so they're way bigger, newer, and cheaper than the Village. It's also right down the street from Algo Norte Park. This is the biggest park in Carlsbad, and they have a ton of things to do. There's an aquatic center, dog park, sports field, splash pads, and since you live so close, it's basically an extension of your backyard. And that's super important because the yard in these master plan communities are usually on the smaller side. Now, La Costa Oaks North is another newer neighborhood similar to the Greens, but basically the rest of La Costa was built in the 70s and 80s. And if you want a bigger yard, you're gonna have to look at some of these older homes. Now, the trade-off is that you might have to do some updating, and they usually don't have an HOA, so the neighborhoods aren't gonna be super manicured. So it really comes down to if you want something newer with a smaller yard or or maybe a house that has a bigger lot size, but maybe 30, 40, 50 years old. All right, now one of my favorite neighborhoods is Bressi Ranch. This is easily one of the best master plan communities in all of San Diego. And right when you get here, you're gonna see how polished everything feels. It's clean streets, there's perfect landscaping, and the walkability is absolutely amazing. They have parks everywhere, there's a full-on lap pool, and the best part has to be the village. It's a super convenient shopping plaza. They have a Trader Joe's and a Sprouts right next to each other, CVS, Yoga 6, Bird Rock Coffee, basically all your daily essentials. And the best part is you don't even have to drive. You can easily walk or bike, so it was all just planned out really well. It's also a very tight-knit neighborhood. Everyone knows each other. You see the same people around, and they actually go all out for Halloween and Christmas, so really an awesome place to raise your family. Now, I also want to mention Robertson Ranch, which is another master plan community. It's a little bit of a newer neighborhood, so most of these were built mid-2010s, and they all have more modern floor plans. Now, they don't have a village like Bressi Ranch does, so it doesn't feel as busy, but they still have a very nice community pool, walking trails, parks, and they're actually building a huge new park nearby, which I'm gonna show you in just a little bit. But this is a really great neighborhood with lots of kids around, so families love this community. And look, if you absolutely want a new construction home in Carlsbad, most of what's being built is townhouses. Now, one community is Coral Ridge, which is kind of in the Calavera Hills area. They're all 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, right around 1,700 square feet, and they start at $998,000. You're just a few minutes from the lagoon. Carlsbad Village is only a 10-minute drive. They have a pool, dog park, and it's right across the street from that new park I mentioned. Now, it's still in the final planning phases and probably not gonna be open till around 2029, but it's supposed to be 13 acres and there's plans for pickleball courts, sports fields, a jogging track, so definitely gonna be a huge addition for everyone. Now, on the southeast end of Carlsbad, they're building the Nest, and this one's in La Costa. There's 76 lots, and these are also townhomes. They range from 2 to 4 bedrooms, about 1,200 to 1,800 square feet, and they're starting at $960,000. Now, they just started construction, so it's gonna be a few months until they're move-in ready, but those are really the 2 new communities in Carlsbad. Now, keep in mind with new construction, you're gonna have a Mello-Roos tax, which is basically an additional property tax. The basic property tax rate is about 1.1, 1.2%, but if there's a Mello-Roos, it's gonna be about 1.4, 1.5. So let's say, for example, you buy $1 million townhouse, you're gonna pay about $250 more a month for property taxes. Now, most of these Mello-Roos taxes don't last forever, and they're usually there for around 20 to 30 years. So if you have any questions about this, or you wanna know if a house has one of these taxes, just let me know and I'll get you all the info. All right, let's talk about home prices. So the median price is about 1.5 million, but that includes condos and townhomes. So if we take those out of there, it actually jumps to 1.8 million. And look, the location is gonna be a huge factor. So the closer you get to the water, you're actually gonna be paying more for a smaller house. For example, this house in Aviara is listed at 2.75 for 4,500 square feet, but this one in La Costa is 2.9 for 5,500 square feet. So that's about $50 less per square foot. There's also this one in Old Carlsbad, which is walking distance to the water, and it's actually over $1,000 a square foot. Now, one thing I love about Carlsbad is that first-time buyers can still get in. There's condos in that sub 750 range, so you definitely don't have to spend $2 million to live here. Like this place in La Costa is listed at 745, and you get almost 1,500 square feet. Now, don't forget all these have an HOA fee, and most of them are between $400 and $600. Also, special assessments are starting to hit a lot of these communities. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a fee from the HOA on top of your monthly dues. And they usually do this when the complex needs massive repairs and the HOA doesn't have enough money for it. So things like new roofs, repaving the roads, painting, they're gonna pass those down to you and there's no way out of it. All right, let's touch on schools for a minute, and this is a huge selling point. Carlsbad's actually in the 3rd best district in San Diego. Most of these schools have an A or an A+ rating, and it's a big reason for the home prices. And even if you don't have kids, good schools are great for property values. So there's Carlsbad High School and Sage Creek, and you've also got a ton of options for elementary and middle school. Just make sure that if you want your kids going to a specific school that you check the boundaries. So depending on the exact street you're on, you might end up in a totally different school. And it's really easy for me to check, so reach out if you need any help with that. And look, there's so many great things about Carlsbad, and I really try to fit everything in this video, but there's a lot more I couldn't couldn't get into. So if there's something I didn't talk about or maybe questions that you have, all my information is on the screen. So feel free to call, text, or email me anytime. And I'd love to help you figure out if Carlsbad or maybe another part of San Diego is a good fit for you. There's so many different lifestyles here, especially if you're not from San Diego. It's hard to wrap your head around everything. So definitely reach out and I'll make sure to help you out. Also, I'm gonna link a video right here where I compare Carlsbad to Encinitas. So make sure you check that one out, or just take a look at my channel for a lot of other videos on San Diego real estate. All right, I'll see you in the next one.